To get better at any skill, you don't just do it more, you also have to break it down and practice each individual element better. And that definitely applies to CS2. You don't just play more, you practice smarter. So today I'm going to show you the tools I'm using to improve every part of my gameplay. Aim, positioning, game sense and utility. And I want to know what you use as well. Welcome back to the road to FACEIT. Over the last few weeks I've been working on my aim, positioning, confidence and my game sense. A huge part of that progress has come from using the right tools. A lot of these tools didn't exist when I was playing, so this is a real new element to me. Today's video is all about the training apps, maps, tools for analysis, everything that I'm just starting to use or that I've been using over the last few weeks. Let's start with aim, because whether you're 2k elo or FACEIT level 10, you just can't ignore it. One tool I have used is KovaaK. Now it's not free, but it is easy to use and there's a lot of routines on there that really help with your flicks and micro adjustments. It can be quite advanced depending on how much you want from it, which makes it good for tracking and consistency, but again it comes with a price tag. Personally I find that the best aim training you can do is actually in game, since it's more situational and realistic to what you're actually trying to do. So I spend a lot of time on the workshop maps. A lot of the aim maps, headshot only servers and some of the aim trainer specific maps. So if you're returning to CS like me, this is the fastest way to rebuild mechanics. Moving on from aim, there's Prefire maps, which I find again are really helpful because they're actually situational and realistic in terms of where you're really going to be looking to engage with other players and try and out-aim them. They teach real angles, real timings and expectations of where people will peek from. It helps to build skills for duels, how they should feel on every map, and these can really build into your ongoing gameplay. Things like counter strafing, shoulder peeks, all that kind of stuff. It's the real difference between winning and losing a duel. Now let's talk about the big one, Refrag. This has been an absolute game changer for me, especially coming back after so many years away. Refrag gives you realistic scenarios that you can repeat over and over again. There's stuff for retakes, there's stuff for Prefire, with the added addition of, you know, the bots actually move and shoot back at you, they throw nades. There's the crossfire stuff. There's all these different modes that actually work for realistic gameplay. They also have a lot on utility as well, which is quite cool. It shows you can repeat different scenarios, you can, you know, see where they actually land, you can see how long nades take to land them and blow. There's some really helpful things built into this and I found it absolutely exceptional. Again, it does come at a cost, which isn't too much, but it is a subscription based platform. But you can spin up your own servers. If you've got other people that use Refrag, then you can get them to join as well, which is really helpful. So you can do, you know, 2v2 duels or 1v1 duels, all that kind of thing. Once you also link your Steam profile, it also will give you things like your statistics of duels, nades, crosshair placement, all that kind of stuff, which can be really helpful to see where you're falling down or where you're doing very well. It gives you tracking of progress, so where you might be doing better over time, which is always good for building confidence. One thing I did think was pretty cool about Refrag is that they give you routines set up by some of the pro players like Twists and Elige. These are really cool because, you know, you can do stuff that potentially they're really doing in their routines as well. On top of that, based on your stats and how you're doing in game, they also give you a personalized warm-up routine, which is really cool. So this means it tackles the elements that you're maybe not doing so well at, which means that you can try and target those specifically to improve. I do just want to mention that this is absolutely not sponsored or paid for in any way by Refrag. This is my honest opinion. And to counter some of the positives, one thing I do find is that the website itself sometimes can be a little difficult to navigate. Managing the server, although initially it's easy, changing the mode sometimes doesn't seem so intuitive, but really the good stuff outweighs the bad. So moving away slightly from the raw mechanics, there are things that you can do to improve your brain as well. So if you want to improve your accuracy on duels, your crosshair placement and areas of the map you might not be so strong at, then you need to review demos and things that stem from the demos themselves. That's where tools like Leetify and Scope come in, because they pull out the statistics and the areas that you might need to work on and give you suggestions on how to improve them. So for example, Leetify shows the accuracy and crosshair placement errors and heat maps that highlight the biggest weaknesses that you might be showing. Scope also goes a little bit deeper than that, which gives you economy analysis, so when you might be wasting utility, your impact rating on a round, positioning breakdown and the data on your pathing, so moving between sites, moving on retakes and all that kind of stuff. Obviously on the more basic end you've also then got the demo viewer, which is obviously something that I'm trying to use all the time, because then you can just go back and watch your demos and spot things yourself that you might not be doing so well. Sometimes reviewing your own gameplay can be uncomfortable, but it's also where you make the fastest improvement. Obviously if you've seen the previous episode, in episode 6, I was reviewing one of my own demos and I highlighted mistakes I didn't even realise I was making until I watched it back. The last category is utility. CS2Nades is one of the best sites right now for updated smokes, flashes and mollies. I try and learn 2 or 3 new lineups per week. That's enough to make a difference without overwhelming myself. Utility is basically free impact, so it's definitely worth learning, and after all, the more you learn, the easier the game gets. In addition to that website, I've also been getting, obviously because I've been browsing a lot of CS2 stuff recently, a lot of the content creators that share nades on Reels on Facebook and Instagram. One I have seen a lot is this guy Jagix5. I don't even know how you say his name, but shout out to him. He shows some really good ones. Also, I've seen a few from Austin CS, which is cool. Between those, I'll notice something and sort of say, wow, that one looks cool. I'm going to give it a go, see if I can replicate it. Is it as easy as it looks? And yeah, I'm definitely pleased to say there's a few of those that I've implemented myself. So these are the tools I've been using to rebuild my game, and honestly they've helped me way more than FACEIT or Premiere alone. Now I'd like to hear from you. What tools do you use to train? Let me know in the comments. I really want to try some of the new ones and maybe include them in a future episode on an update video. Until then, the comeback continues and I'll see you next week.